Join the Adventure Club on Patreon and support Saturday Adventures.
I believe in Bilbo Baggins.
Hi, I'm Anna, and on this week's Saturday Adventure, I'm looking for history's greatest monster. No, not that one. No, not them. I said history's greatest monster. Millions and millions and millions of years ago, on the faraway planet of Scumdogia, deep in the festering mutation vats, a warrior was born. Hollywood Cemetery has a lot of history, but in August of 2019, the worst being to ever exist in all the history of space and time was laid to rest here. That despicable warrior was Oderus Urungus, the Prime Minister of the Sinister. That warrior would go on to spread chaos and violence throughout the galaxy with a brutal reign of hate for all that was alive. He wiped out civilizations and burned planets for his amusement. That brutal gladiator is buried right here in Richmond, Virginia, at the Hollywood Cemetery. No body actually lies beneath this stone. Dave Brockie, the artist, author, musician, and singer behind Oderus, was cremated and placed inside an Oderus costume for a Viking funeral on Lake Habid outside of Richmond. This stone instead harbors the memory of a creature that would always be one step beyond the worst thing you could ever imagine. Oderus was the vocalist and leader of GWAR, or at least the one who could shout the loudest. GWAR is a combat unit of space gladiators that murdered world after world until they were banished to Earth for their excessive cruelty. Sometime after that, and without much explanation, GWAR was frozen inside their castle in Antarctica. Millions of years later, they were thawed out by a record producer that got them hooked on crack cocaine and tricked them into becoming a rock band. The mosh pit at a GWAR show is like an abattoir, as the most current pop celebrities are torn limb from bloody limb, and their blood is sprayed out over the legions of thirsty fans. During a career that lasted more than 30 years, Dave Brockie's day job was to travel the world, meet thousands of cool people, and tear the heads off US presidents night after night after night. Dave Brockie was different than your average gross-out heavy metal songwriter. The worst Cannibal Corpse song could never compare to the horrific images that Oderus spit out. But Dave Brockie made those repulsive images into poetry. When normal profanity could not convey the perversions of the subject, Oderus made new profanity. GWAR lyrics may have been awful, but they were witty, intelligent, and funny. He may have died young, but Dave Brockie spent that life traveling the world and inspiring people, all while pretending to be a space monster in a rubber suit. In short, Dave Brockie was a genius. The GWAR costumes always featured a rotating array of artists, and Brockie expressed his own desire to one day retire and pass on the Oderus character. Ultimately, the band was forced to make a different decision. On March 23rd of 2014, Dave Brockie lost his life to a heroin overdose. GWAR continued on. America must be destroyed after all. Leadership responsibilities were taken by Blothar the Berserker, whose human counterpart is the only musician in the band to perform on GWAR's first album. In addition to touring, the band operates the GWAR Bar in Richmond, a heavy metal dive bar with dozens of GWAR props as decoration. It seemed a little sacrilegious to order off the vegetarian menu, but the Ragnarok's tofu was delicious.